Okay, I think we are live. Welcome, everybody. Dr. Kevin Gyurina here, and we're talking about the world outside of you. Call that your environment. Everything outside of you. That means the air, the water, nature, other people, the anything that's considered not you. We'll call the outside world. The sun, the moon, the stars, the cosmos, the weather, the news, world events, all of it. It's outside of you. And so I'm just checking to make sure I am live and everything's going well. Okay, I think we are live. Welcome, everybody. Turn that down. And so welcome to the conversation. Each and every week I'm going live and I have additional content going out talking about essentially the four foundations, which is mind, body, chemistry, and the biofield. So these four realms of what it is to talk about health, wellness, life, and the causes of why people break down and get sick, and the causes of why people recover, rejuvenate, and heal is the topic at hand each and every week. And we break it down into the themes of that. And then maybe adding a fifth component to the cycle, which is technologies that are there to facilitate us. But each week, we're going to break down the problem, we're going to break down solutions that I've acquired and I provide services or resources to help you get a handle on that area of your life. And this week, we're talking about the outside world. And what's so prevalent in our reality is the nature of how we use electricity, how we use technology, and also, so we'll call that synthetic frequencies, okay? Synthetic environmental frequencies. And then we have our natural environmental frequencies, things like sunlight, things like cosmic rays, cosmic radiation, cosmic waves of energy. And when you look at let me pull this up so I can show you. And say hello in the chat. You know, if you tuned in once or twice before, say hello. Let me know where you're coming from. I love to see who is tuning in from where. No, I'm going to pull up the electromagnetic spectrum. Pull up an image of that. Okay, so let me share my screen, and we'll get started with today's conversation. So I typed in here electromagnetic spectrum at the top, and I like to show people, how I go about finding things and some of the ways that I get clear on certain topics. And it's nice to use tools that everyone can have access to, resources. So I like this first picture here, and it's blown up on the right hand side, a little bigger. If you see the color, hopefully you can see my pointer. This is a section of the screen over here to the right. Let's click on the image and get a come up by itself. Oops. Nope. What I want to show you is we have the colors of the rainbow, all the things that we can see with our eyes, with no technology, no additional support, just what our eyes can see. We have the full spectrum of the rainbow right here, and you can see the size of the visible light spectrum comparative to what is invisible. And I have a video I'll see if I can pull up for you so I can share it about a conversation of this. So when we look out into space and we see all the stars out there, and you can see all the dark energy, you can see all this lack of light in between the things that we can see, the stars that are shining the light, and it's empty space. It looks like it's empty space. However, when we have technology look at that, we can see gamma rays, we can see X-rays, ultraviolet rays, infrared rays. We know there's technology that can detect radio waves, radar, microwave, television waves. If you're of the proper generation, you remember the days of tuning the TV to the proper station or tuning the radio to the proper station. Let me pull up a video, have you about that. Hopefully this comes through.
You guys asked me if there's a radio in this one.
Take a look at this car.
Look what it has. Old school radio. Things aren't necessarily bad. They can't be your everyday.
Turn it on. Now he's tuning in. So just think about that for a minute. Those radio waves are present all the time. The radio station, and in fact, if you, the second knob he was touching was tuning between stations that were broadcasting different songs. And at any time you could tune into any station and pick up that particular song, or switch tune to a different station and pick up a different song. Yet that song was playing anyway. And that information was available to pick up in the non-visible spectrum of the electromagnetic spectrum. So what's that signal doing when there's nothing to pick up the signals? There's no radio to play it on, no speakers to blast it out on. What the energy is still moving through you. The energy is present where you are. How does the human body interact with that signal? Considering radio really hasn't been around with humanity for that long, a couple generations now. What about television waves? Another layer of information going through the field, the air, the airwaves, the ether, the ethernet, the ether waves, the cosmic, fields, just the space around you. It's penetrating through that all the time, 100% of the time. Excuse me. So we have our radio waves, we have our television waves, we have our Wi-Fi signals, our cell phone signals. Are there other signals going on through our body? How is our body reacting? How is our body adapting to these continued layers and layers and layers and layers of energies and frequencies? Every new level of technology adds a new level of things for the body to adapt to. Some may call it interference. We know there's certain, in the natural conversation, we know that there's certain light, for example, sunlight, for example. If we get the proper amount, we have health. If we have too much, we get burnt. Look at every plant. It requires sunlight to produce energy that in turn makes it grow. Though if we have too much sunlight, too much heat over too much time, well, the plant gets dried out, the plant gets burnt. So there's this proper amount that goes on that's beneficial. There's too little light, nothing will grow. And then there's too much, it becomes too intense. So think of that with our body as well, with all the technologies going on. So what are we supposed to do about that? Now, do you have an experience where you have had the proper amount of an energy and it enhances you, but then you have too much of an energy and it breaks you down? That's the kind of thing I want to have you consider, because what are we doing as a species? What do we have available to help us counteract that? Well, one of the best things to do is get away. When we talk about technology and how it has effects on the human body, I didn't prepare any scientific articles for that. Perhaps I'll have something ready for that by the end of the week for that. I'll keep my lookout. However, with that being said, what do we do when it comes to our resources to bring our body back into harmony? Well, the simplest solution is to make sure you get out into nature. You get out to walk on a trail. You get out to walk by the river. You get as far away from as much technology as you can. Now, here you are. You may be finding yourself in a city, or always within range of a Wi-Fi signal. Do the best you can. You can. I'm not gonna move the screen around here, but you can look around and put plants. There's certain known species of plants you can get in your house. I think one of them is the snake plant. It's one of the most easiest plants to grow. I believe it helps minimize negative effects of these different signals, Wi-Fi, cell phone, microwave, radio wave, television waves. It helps minimize the negative effect of that. If I'm incorrect, please comment below with some resources and information. We'd like to expand our learning. So you can bring nature into your living space is a great way to bring greater harmony. Certain crystals, certain combinations of metals and crystals and patterned in the right way can bring harmony to a space, can bring energy into a space. So what I'm getting at by bringing energy, what I mean by that is each crystal emits a signal that's detectable by different technologies. Some people are astute enough, they can sense it with their natural um, uh, capabilities. Some people, there's training programs to enhance your skill sets, just like somebody who's blind can hear better than the average person. When we focus on enhancing one of our natural senses, we can strengthen that sense. We can have greater discernment in using that sense. And some people have a natural quality that just the different senses are very heightened. Often, I would imagine many times chefs have a taste sensation that is developed over time, not a gift. The idea of a food critic has certain quality of taste buds, can discern certain information. We can learn to sense with our fingers in greater ways. We can get more familiar with, say, playing piano because we get familiar with where the keys are and repeat, and we play and repeat, play and repeat. We work it into our muscle, aka our neurologic automatic memory. So getting out into nature, being near water, being near plants, being near trees, these are all natural methods to bring yourself into harmony. Being in the proper sunlight, oftentimes the morning and the evenings are phenomenal times to be out in nature and to attune yourself. Now, some people are really concerned with bugs and mosquitoes and ticks and things like this, and rightfully so. With that being said, there are things that you can do that will minimize their desire to attract to you, and things that you can do to, if there is an encounter, to secure and provide resources for your body to handle any pathogens that may come your way. And there are protocols to recover from these. Whether most people are aware of these protocols or not, that's a different story, yet they are there and available. So being out in nature, one of the things that comes with mosquitoes is your food habits and your illness status plays a role into the attractability of yourself to be bitten by mosquitoes, for sure. Um, Now, where are they going at with all this? The conversation of our environment, how our body adapts to these ways. Oh, how do we mitigate these issues? So, um, creating your personal space with features of nature are a great way to bring that in. Of course, you can find the right kind of music. There's a whole conversation about how the tuning of music, is it 440, is it 432? Are there other standard tunings that produce an effect in the human body? Yes, there is. We can create certain patterns for healing certain types. How do I say this? For engaging your body to activate its own healing response. Just like if you were to put on certain sad music, you would access sad memories, you would access sad perspectives, sad ways of thinking, you would access the feelings that go along with sadness. And what that actually means is you're accessing you're activating the hormones that are related to the sad feelings. You're activating the states of mind, the states of body, the states of physiology that are related to sadness. Just like you can turn on the happy music, the thing that gets you going, the things that get you motivated. We know that the sound of the music, the rate at which the song is coming at you, so to speak, and how your body then interacts with that physical thing in the air that's moving the air waves, the vibration that can be felt, as well as the emotions that are elicited when turning on that positive music changes how your body is responding to the time. It's not curing something. It's your body doing the curing of the something. The song, the frequency, da, 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 just simply reminded your body of a natural quality that it had, and it started to produce the natural effect of that natural quality that your body had. It's why people say, you know, um, this is not medical advice. This is not intended to tell you that this cures or prevents anything, because it doesn't. It's your body that's curing and preventing things. This is giving your body the resources to activate the systems that do the curing and the prevention of things. It's a legalistic dance of language that must be had by the holistic and natural profession, because otherwise, then the matrix comes down and the system comes down and starts to penalize you, and it's looking for the opportunity anytime it can. So be mindful of that. With that being said, we want to acknowledge the natural qualities that the human body has. You cut your finger, for example, you get the dirt out, you keep it clean, it's going to get well. Just like if you break your arm, you go to the medical doctor, you get the ER, you get the bones set. I mean, the physical structure is put back in its proper position, and then it's stabilized with the cast, and then what? Time heals it? No, it's not just time. It's what's going on at the microscopic level, at the atomic level, that is occurring automatically in response to that injury. So then it mends itself, regenerates, rejuvenates, heals, repairs. That's a natural quality of the human body. So we want to create the conditions that optimize the body's natural inherent ability to repair, rejuvenate, regenerate, heal. That journey is psychological, that journey is physical, the journey is biochemical, the journey is behavioral. It's a lifestyle. And it's a bit more of a personal responsibility road. It takes a bit more of the oomph from you versus giving your power, giving your responsibility away, giving all that to somebody else to solve with what? What's the alternative? Cut things out with procedures, surgical procedures, or they add things in with a synthetic chemical that's derived from petroleum. It is. Look it up. So the environment causes our something in our environment stimulates our body to respond. And that response, depending on the stimulus, is ultimately detrimental, because the body will mount if it's something that's toxic, like for example, the sun, being sunburned, like I said earlier, the body will mount a response till it can no longer mount a response. And then once it can no longer mount a response, it will continue to decay. It will decay to death. Hans Selye, foundational research on the stress response, and that was called adaptive physiology. That knowledge base is key to understand why we get burned out. We hit this point, but we also start to see ways to enhance through this foundational research and knowledge. We get to understand a new way of how the human body works, and how to and help its capabilities to recover, rejuvenate, regenerate. So, kind of touch base on what one can do. Basically, it's get in tune with nature and use nature to help yourself. And if you want to take it to another step in a higher degree, you want nature that's pure, nature that's sufficient. That will help your body mount its adaptive response so that you grow from it in a positive way versus and get break down and get into a deeper stuck pattern. And so, nature. So pure and sufficient. We want natural purity and sufficiency. So, for example, what do I mean by that when it comes to, so I'll give you a food reference. If you were to eat One orange in 1960. Today, you need about 20 oranges to give you the equivalent of the nutritional density available in that orange in 1960. A cup of spinach in 1960, you need like 40 cups of spinach today to give you the nutritional equivalent. Why is that? That's the conversation of our the environment of our farming practices and the and how we go to provide nutrient replenishment practices in our agricultural practices, and where the most positive movement is coming from the regenerative farming community, those that see the soil as the key to our healthy food and therefore healthy people. So this is our soil, this is our air, is our water. You can see how this conversation of how the outside environment affects the human body is so expansive, and yet and there's so many topics, yet there's a simple principle that weaves all of it together: the purity of the environment, the sufficiency of the environment, and what's congruent for optimal human performance and longevity, human performance. There's no synthetic pattern that produces better than a natural pattern. And with the advancements in the organic farming community, the regenerative farming community, the the results of their work are demonstrating we get better quality animal products, we get better quality vegetable products, we get better quality output, we have less toxicity, we have more renewability, more sustainability. It's all available. And as I continue to keep my ear to the ground, so to speak, on those topics, there's greater and greater advancements that are now available. The knowledge bases are there to replace all of our gigantic systems to something that's going to be fruitful for our reality, fruitful for all the people, versus using uh, patterns that we have been employing for the last, who's the we I'm referring to? It was a very small group of people. However, since the early 1900s, a lot of the systems um, shifted into this um, profit generating model using synthetic ingredients and products and services. For what aim and what purpose? I'm not here to talk about that today. Though it's the negative consequence on the human body and the human experience, and it's compounding with every generation having moved forward. And we're at this critical mass point that there's enough people with enough intelligence remaining that see the problem. Yet there's a lot of people being that want that blue pill, the one that want to be back in the matrix. They don't want to know any of these things because it's tough. It's tough and rude. And I've fallen prey to wanting to ignore certain things, but then re-engaging because my own body, my own life had fallen to the wayside again. And, getting back on the things that make me great, and recommitting to that. And that's a vital process. And then taking action on that, and then noticing where there's resistance internally, and working on solving that again and again. I mean, it's a cycle, just like the seasons of our reality, just like you adapt to the seasons of our reality. When it's wintertime, there's more depression. We call it SAD, seasonal affect disorder. When it's that warm, some of the first warm sunny days, everybody wants to be outside. Everyone's in a better mood. We know the environment affects us. So what else can you do? What else can you do? There's technology now that can facilitate this. One of the biggest causes, there's a great book here. Actually, I was looking for something this morning, and I want to share. It's called this great book here called Late Future Medicine. So many great insights, though it talks about a pattern of healing for all kinds of emotional, mental problems, diagnoses, and we're seeing huge waves of mental illnesses, mental issues. Our society as a whole is needing an upgrade in our emotional intelligence, our mental awareness, mental health intelligence. And this gentleman, this doctor, was a researcher, is an optometrist and beyond, though using different colored light in the eyes to heal issues with the brain and the body. We know red light therapies are becoming extremely popular. Now, there's good uses and there's not so good uses. There's good technologies and not so good technologies. And so there's knowledge and discernment required to pick good technology in that world. That's that. But there's also sound therapies. We know people are using crystal bowls and bowls made of different metals. And we know that there's technologies that can produce tones. And now there's even technology that is helping provide customized protocols and customized tones. And this tone, it can be done multiple times a day. So someone, whether you have a little baby, whether you have a teenager, whether you're an adult, whether you have Alzheimer's, whether you got some crazy condition going on, whatever the amount of drama come in, your mood, your emotions may be shifting moment by moment, day by day. There's a therapeutic tool you can get that will sense the current state of where you're at and produce a tone that will help bring your body into that rest, digest, repair, rejuvenate phase. It's called parasympathetic. We've all heard, I believe, most people have heard of fight or flight, that trigger, that automatic response that gets people in trouble. Whether it's Now, the automatic response can be fatigue and fainting. It can be like wanting to get out, wanting to run away, wanting to frolic, wanting to play. And not saying that those things are, not, you know, we're like containing animals in offices many times. And so, yes, there's a balance. Learning what that actual balance is important. Though at the same time, we can get so stressed out, whether it's an argument, something on the news, something you see on TV, and it triggers that response. So there's tools and technologies that can counteract the responses, yes, when we're in emotional place, but also from these environmental challenges and toxicities and just what's called levels and layers of interference patterns that are developing. And so having tools that counteract the technology. So using technology to counteract technology, kind of like a radar jam or noise canceling headphones or hearing aids. In fact, we can use energies to enhance the energies that we want. We can use energies to cancel energies that we don't want. And now, in a customizable way that senses your body and all its organs and all its blood factors and all its brain functions and all its literally everything has its unique signal. And just like that radio station knob I showed you earlier, that signal can be just right, too high or too low. And if it's just right, your body and regarding that topic is functioning optimally. But if it's too high or too low, it's causing stress and strain on the system. So to tune all these various, dozens and dozens of organs and hundreds of thoughts and millions of processes, balancing them, creating a greater harmony that creates a result of peace and ease in the body that results in it, which translates to a peace and ease in your life. And that's the beauty. I was having a conversation today with another practitioner, kind of like, well, what's the intention of a practitioner? What's the motivation of a practitioner? And there's a couple layers to that question. Um, One is to have personal excellence, training, education, getting better, more knowledgeable products, getting better services, getting better techniques, getting better products. That's the game of improving your skill set. But it's also the result for the client that's desired. Yes, uh, we want people to be well. My colleague was just talking about, it's like, part of her motivation is she sees everyone stuck in this fight or flight. They're stuck in inflammation. They're stuck in this response to being stressed out in every area of their life. How do we get there? Different conversation, different day. How do we solve it? Well, we address things in the mind, address things in the physical body, address things with the chemistry, so those are food and our toxins, and we address things in our environmental energies. It's partially like feng shui is what feng shui is. You know, home decor design. Um, these the people who do that have a natural knack, like an athlete. It's just a natural quality athlete. Certain people have a knack to know where things feel good, where you place them around the room, the colors, the lighting, the textures, the furniture, the plant life. So people just have a knack to bring a feeling, a vibe to the environment. Well, you can do that with the physical things, but we're talking about using a technology to counteract technology. So hopefully this has been interesting for you. So let me it's kind of like a general download of how the environment affects the body. The body must meet the demand of the environment. Gravity is met by the body. Sound is met by the body. Light is met by the body. Our food, our liquids, our television, what we consume with our eyes, what we consume with our ears, what we consume with our nose, what we consume with our skin. Our body must acknowledge what's going on around us, whether we're conscious of it or not. For example, you can get that irritating feel, like you look all of a sudden and someone's staring at you. Well, there's some sense that's in you that was detecting something, a field, was penetrating your awareness to such a degree you had to go check it out. That's the hidden quantum quality of life. If you've had mother's intuition, you've had that synchronous experience of thinking somebody, then you see them. If you're an athlete, knowing where to be on the field at the right time, um, following that sense, the gut feeling. We know that there's the quantum world exists, and we know that the advancements in physics have demonstrated all kinds of wild things. And it speaks to why what people think is woo-woo is actually the most advanced things that scientists are studying these days, that researchers are studying these days. It's quite profound, actually. Um, so the environment, how it impacts the body, the system that is responsible for sensing and detecting the environment consciously and subconsciously, I call it our communication network. It's called our central nervous system, our peripheral nervous system, and the extensions of that. All right. So, for example, hair is an extension of the central nervous system. It detects things. There's something in the feature of the tissue, the tissue of our body that holds our muscles together and kind of like the glue between things. The fascia tissue, it has qualities that sense things outside of our body, and it has a field of energy that's emitted from it. People call that the biofield. It's one of the other possible topics of discussion, because what's being discovered is the biofield has its own anatomy, has its own systems of healing and attention that are required for optimal performance or recovery from damage. So it's quite an exciting time to be alive. We're learning a lot about what it is to be human, more so than you thought possible. And for any one brain to know it all and then recall all of that in a simple fashion is not as relevant and doable and productive as um, uh, as it could be. This is where the idea is in the holistic health world, collaboration with like 10 professionals, the acupuncturist, the chiropractor, the nutrient professional, all these people, because there's so many different factors of the body. How do we assimilate all that knowledge and all that data and make good decisions on that? And that's where technology can help us be responsible with the nature that we are in charge with in this lifetime. We're like the taxi driver inside the taxi. Our consciousness is like inside the taxi. So how we be good stewards of that? Well, this is what I'm talking about. So um, let me introduce you to that right now. I've been using this in my personal life and my professional life now for about 5 years, a little more than 5 years now. Actually, six, because I got before all the lockdown measures about a year before that. So closing in on 7 years, 6 to 7 years now. Seems remarkable how fast time is going by. Though what I want to share with everybody is a simple tool. One of the 10 major functions of technology is called the inner voice. This is where whether we speak over Zoom or you give me a phone call, you leave a voice memo on Facebook, I can sample your voice through this technology, and it will produce a customized tone and report back to you in your inbox. And then in that report, there's also an audio for you to listen to that then helps turn on that rest, digest, repair, rejuvenate system in your body. You feel calm, you feel light, you feel relaxed after listening to the tone that's produced based on your voice imprint. And in your voice imprint, I don't know if you've seen any of the spy movies or You can imagine a safe that has safety measures that use a thumbprint or a voice analysis to confirm who's who. Well, in your voice, there's over 10,000 points of data that can be collected, and 2,000 of those are relevant. Four are the most important. And this technology has proprietary, algorithms and things like that. Though what's not proprietary is knowing that different parts of our body have relationships to different colors or different organs or different frequency sounds. So, for example, let's see, the color green is associated with the heart, which is associated with things like uh, feelings of, on the negative scale, lost or vulnerable or overly excited or not sure. These affect the heart pattern. We know in Chinese medicine, certain muscles go with the heart, certain spinal bones go with the heart in chiropractic. We know that certain foods help the heart. So what I'm getting at, it's like a spectrum. So we talk about the heart, there's a sound, there's a color, there's a food, there's a body part, there's a spectrum of things that go with pattern. So when we speak in our voice, there's 12 notes, and each of the 12 notes have 12 subcomponents of that note. And there's a known blueprint of what's optimal. So it's like if we tune that radio station perfect, that sound comes through great. So when that tone in your voice imprint comes through great, that area is fine. Though, if there's a range, we'll say the note A, if in that note A, there's all kinds of different perturbations identified, well, it can sense that. And based on that, produce information with the sound to balance that, like a noise canceling headphone or hearing aids that enhance a signal and dampen negative signals. And then as that's observed by the listener, the body then responds, calm people down. You can gain all kinds of health data from someone's voice. In fact, I have a colleague that's out in California that's been trained in an art of using the ear to detect and diagnose. It is amazing. And so these are all, essentially native culture healing systems that have been time tested and worked through over eons, ages, not just the last 100 years. And so these are it's like finding your eighth generational qigong master acupuncture practitioner that's been passed down lineage and lineage and lineage and expertise and knowledge and wisdom just passed down generation. These ancient practices are now being confirmed with technologies, and when we use both, there's real magic there. So keep a lookout for that information on technology. If you have questions about this, anything I've said today, please comment below. Reach out to me personally. You can get a demo. Um, where can you find all the information? Well, the best way is to go to, excuse me, drkeving.com, drkeving.com, and you go to the make appointment section of the page. Um, or you can go visit one of the links down below in the description, or I'll follow the QR code wherever I put that. It'll take you to a Zoom consultation. This is where we get to have conversations, get to ask you questions. What are you needing? What are you wanting? And help direct people there. Whether you want one-on-one walking a personalized, customized medicine, or whether you want to learn skill sets through workshops, through mentorship, through coaching. There's different programs, protocols, workshops, webinars, trainings on all those things. Or perhaps you just simply want to go at your own pace and kind of like consume information. Well, you can go to my app, quantum-life.passion.io. You can find that on the website. You can find that through Instagram. You can find it basically any channel. I'm creating the network so all things point to all things and are housed in one area. And that one area is the app. All roads will lead to the app. And the reason I do this, why do I do this? Well, because like my professional friend said, we see the problem of stress in the world. We know that people express their greatest potential when they're in that flow state. So I do things for myself, for my schedule that help me get to the flow state. And when I'm in the flow state, I create greater things. And so when we can help more and more people get to that flow state, more and more great things are created. And more great things are created in alignment with the natural qualities and essences. This is kind of the new earth coming forward as we see the breakdown in what's been built over the last 150 years, just things that we can take and run with, and there's things that need to be reworked and shut down. And that's where we're at in a society. And when it comes to the human body, the human mind, we know that incorporating natural therapies and protocols and practices are how we prevent the need for the medical system to be present in the first place. We don't want to throw it away. We want to take the best from it and apply it in a better manner. And I wish that for you as well. Dr. Kevin Gyurina, see you. I see you. Blessings. Best regards. Remember, each and every day in little powerful ways, a step today builds a better tomorrow. Peace.